Hi, my name's Griffin. I'm a student at Northeastern University and I'm part of the NUN program, which means that I've spent this past semester in a different country. I packed my bags, left my town of Rockaway Beach in Queens, New York, and traveled all the way to Europe. Here is my semester in Berlin. I chose to go to Germany because I had never been to Europe before, and this was an opportunity to immerse myself in a culture that I didn't know and a language that I couldn't speak. Berlin is full of places that look both old and new. You can enter a station, take any train, and it may look like you've completely left the city. Berlin has a really deep connection to its history, and it makes for some great tourism. There are so many landmarks like the Brandenburg Gate, the remains of the Berlin Wall, and the countless museums and memorials that educate people on the city's past. I realized that Berlin is an honest city with a population that grew to accept and learn from what the country had once been. There are so many places to explore in this city, and there's always something to do. After my first week in Berlin, I decided to do some traveling and see just what else Europe had to offer. My first trip was to Potsdam. This place is full of history about Germany. The city has beautiful palaces and lots of monuments. It's not that far away from Berlin, too, so it made a nice day trip. My next trip was to Prague. Here, I was greeted by a city that was packed with tourists, but was amazing nonetheless. There's a lot of cool things to buy, and there are so many places to explore. Though the city is packed, I wandered just far enough to find a quiet spot and enjoy the view. Everything about Stockholm was perfect. The food is amazing, and I loved biking from place to place. I could always find a nice spot to look at the water, and checking out Stockholm's old town was an amazing experience. Plus, Stockholm has some of the best sunsets that you will ever see. Next, I traveled to Krakow, in Poland. I was only there for a short time, just to grab some wholesome food before making my pilgrimage to the Auschwitz concentration camps. This was by far the most gripping and emotional experience that I have ever been through. You can feel a certain heaviness around you right as you enter each facility. I am grateful that I was finally able to visit this historic site where so many had lost their lives and pay my respects. After Poland, I grabbed a few friends and traveled to Munich for the infamous Oktoberfest celebration. This went exactly as you would expect, so I'll spare the details. Long story short, I sent my liver home in an ambulance that weekend. Then came Dresden, where I got a decent crash course on some important German history and gave myself a little time to recover from Munich. I traveled to Amsterdam and spent my whole weekend relaxing along the countless beautiful canals. This city is incredibly gorgeous, people are delightful, and I was able to check out the Heineken Museum and the infamous Red Light District. During my week break, I made a quick stop to Vienna, where I went to an amusement park and found a hotel that once rented a room to Franz Kafka. I didn't get to go to the opera, but if I could, I would have gone by electric scooter. After Austria, I got on a plane and journeyed a few countries to the west, where I finally got to cross this beautiful city off of my bucket list. Barcelona was my favorite place to travel to because I've always dreamed of one day going to Spain. Needless to say, this was better than anything I could have imagined. I found a view of the whole city that was indescribable, and I got to practice all that Spanish that I took in high school. I visited the Gaudi house, made a few friends, and saw a few Picassos. I loved every second that I spent here, and after 4 days, I was ready to make the last leg of my trip. The last few days of my break were spent in Paris. I got a crepe just to say that I've eaten an authentic one, but I skipped the beret. I visited a few classic landmarks, including the Eiffel Tower, and they were great. but I was especially moved by the art museums. I had never really had a thing for art, but here I found a few impressionist pieces that really spoke to me. And after that, I went home. Living in Berlin this past semester has changed me a lot. In these 3 months, I've traveled to various countries, learned a new language, and discovered how to live in cultures that I don't completely understand. I've made friends here that I'll never forget, and memories that I'll carry with me forever. Berlin is a wonderful city with a vibrant culture, and it's changed me for the better. Though I'm sad that my time as a European is coming to a close, I'll leave here more independent, more culturally aware, and happier. I'd like to thank the NUN program and its faculty for giving me the opportunity to live in another country. These last few months were some of the best moments of my life, and I owe this experience to them. I'd especially like to thank my parents for supporting me every step of the way, and I'm excited to come back to Boston in a few weeks to share what I have learned. My name is Griffin, and I'd like to say thank you for watching this video. I'll see you the next time that I'm fortunate enough to travel the world again.